it was massive for a while there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's still coined as the largest short
Yeah.
film fest in the world, but
Yeah.
I think the attraction factor of that is normally when you think of a film fest, you go in and you're sitting down in an indoor venue,
Yeah.
and you might have 300, or in a huge cinema, maybe
Yeah.
500, or
Yeah.
auditorium, people sitting there watching something. And that's the scale that we usually experience a film festival in.
Yeah.
When you go to something like Trop Fest, it's like you walk into a park and then it's like, in its heyday, there was up to 100,000 sitting around in a park.
Yeah, yeah.
Like as far as your eye could see, there's this triangle screen and then just a sea of people. And it was just impossible to not be blown away by that.
Yeah.
And as a filmmaker, like that, I heard people often refer to it as like it was a rock concert for filmmakers, because you live and die by what the audience thinks of your film, right? And if your film's going to have any kind of life ongoing in other spaces, it's based on how the audience takes it. That's a great proving ground. If you can get your film into Trop Fest and you can listen to an audience, to 80,000 people or 100,000 people reacting to the films that they're watching, that's your degree in filmmaking right there.
Did you ever go up and do anything with the Dungog Film Festival?
Yeah.
That used to be.
Yeah, is that still running?
No. I don't think so.
I did.
It was.
Did it come back after COVID?
No, I think again it was money issues with it, because they were getting some big names.
Minerals New South Wales Minerals Council or something or other was backing it. Somewhere.
But I don't think it is anymore. But that was a great little weekend.
Beautiful little
from Friday night all the
Oh
way
yeah,
through,
yeah. And then I think I'd.
Was it that little church that's there? They used to do stuff in this little beautiful little boutique church.
Is it a boutique? Because is it the James Cinema? There's like a very old vintage
it's the
cinema.
James Cinema. Yeah, but
James
it was a church as well. But they used to do it all around town. It was just God. It was the only time the place come alive.
I know, and I remember a lot of the locals were like a little bit like, oh, what's going on here? All these Sydney blow-ins coming in for a film fest for the weekend, and setting up a great big circus tent in the showground for their VIP party.
Now the locals got what they wanted, was a big bronze statue of Doug Walters.
Oh, good. Well, they're happy. Bring back the festival. Let's make a film about it.
Jason Van Genderen, multiple award-winning film director, creative agitator, content pioneer, dementia carer, advocate.
I never said content pioneer. Where'd you get that from?
I found it. That you did. Give me another couple of words to describe you.
Ooh, I am a serial chair straightener. I'm a thalassophobe, so I'm scared of deep water. Can't swim. Live by a beach and can't swim. Got 2 kids. Got 4 kids. They swim beautifully.
Did you find that out the hard way?
Yeah, I did. See, my early years, I grew up in Holland, and I don't remember ever having learned to swim classes, like in kindergarten or first class in Holland. And
there was not a Laurie Lawrence type figure over there.
No, thankfully not. But when I came to Australia, my earliest memory of having a go at swimming. So we moved back out to Australia when I was 7. So I was over there for 3.5, 4 years. Born in Australia, went over, came back, and then I was going to Morisset Primary School. We lived in Bonnells Bay at that stage, and it was just like it was swimming afternoon. So everyone just piled on the school bus, and we went out to the Yarrawonga Park saltwater baths. And I remember us all just very neatly marching out to the end of the pier thing, and then everyone just grabbed the kickboard and jumped in and did what they had to do, right? But I'd never done that before, so I just thought, it can't be that hard.
Well, my early learn to swim days was with Michael Aylan's
Oh, really?
kids, and I had it, and Michael Aylan's wife just gave me a tongue lashing because I jumped in and just wet, I just splashed it everywhere, and she's like, "Hey, how dare you?" I'm like, "Oh my God,
I'm drowning. Save me.
I've upset a legend's wife." You're also an ex-filmmaker.
Look, I go in and out of filmmaking.
Because I'm going to say,
all
you'd
the
be the
time.
sort of person to be walking down the street and you look at, are you this sort of person that can see someone or talk to someone and go, I can make something out of this?
Yeah. I you know what I love doing? I love just when it's like people spotting, but on the move.
Yeah.
Like when you're just walking somewhere and you just overhear a conversation in front of you, and then there's like they'll say a line, like I told him he should have got out of his pajamas before he cut that, and you're like, I don't know the frame of the rest of that conversation at all, but that's a great line, and it's going to end up in the phone. And I've just like I've saved all these weird lines. I've never done a thing with them.
Your brain must be heaving.
It's just like you just hear something and you go, that's one day going to be a great line for something.
I mean, it's also too, do you feel like sometimes when you're filming something and you do something, you go, there's a spin-off to this. Like, hold that thought. You know,
Yeah.
that branch is still there. I'm going to come back to that.
Yeah, and filmmaking is hard. I've just come from the reboot of Tropfest, and we had a 2-day creative symposium Friday, Saturday called Rough Cut, where a lot of the up-and-coming filmmakers come along. Oh, there we go. Got some pictures. It's very high-tech. So, yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
Are we impressing you?
You've done some pre-production. I'm very impressed. Yeah.
This is not someone's bedroom with a bottle of wine.
No, isn't it? Why? No. Although that'll be okay too. But I completely lost my train of thought now. What was I saying? Going along to Rough Cut.
You'd be trop-fested out, would you?
No, never. I think I mean, so, while John and I were on stage doing the session, somebody said, what do they call Jen Fricker, the moderator, said like, "Oh, you guys are like Trop Vintage or something." I've already reached that now. It's like vintage, yeah, possibly. But I mean, it was a long time ago. My Trop story started all the way back in 2008. So it doesn't feel like a long time ago, but geez, it is if you think about it.
We will get to that. But I mean, have you retired from it? I mean, is there some? If you
With
actually
the ex-filmmaker comment, that's right.
Yeah.
Look, filmmaking is hard, and often filmmaking, by our own doing, we make it very complex. And that's something I've been battling my whole career, is not to overcomplicate the stories that I want to tell and make. And that's why I've gravitated to short film like Tropfest and those sorts of festivals, because short film forces you to keep an idea simple and run with it. When we make longer format stories and bigger stuff, it gets really complicated really fast. So I made a feature documentary in 2022 and that kind of exhausted me. So I think I put ex-filmmaker up pretty much the day after it finished its theatrical run. It's like, okay, no, I'm no longer a filmmaker for a little while.
But documentaries, I mean, they're still the rage at the moment. People love them. Can't get enough. Do you feel it's probably a case of people are just sick of free-to-air television? It's almost like they want something real and not something produced and fabricated?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I mean, we watch TV so differently now. You know, like, I think I still crave the times when you turn on the telly and there's only 3 stations to watch, you know, and it was a curated kind of
3, I had 2.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah,
NBN,
and 5A, 5A, which ABC.
I think I had SBS as well. I think because we were on the western side of Lake Macquarie, I think we somehow got an SBS signal from somewhere.
Well, my parents a little bit later got the tall antenna. We had
the
Sydney channels, so you had to go beyond the television and switch it to the other side.
That's a bit
and
posh.
You get it, but it had to be really good weather. Like weather like this would be perfect, but if it was a bit rainy and that, it'd be like
Snowy,
snow
horrible.
and stuff. But mate, we were like, people were coming everywhere. You know, you got Sydney channels. You know, the
You'd
rugby
be like an
league
entertainment hub in the street.
Absolutely. But it's funny, free to air. You know a fellow that I'm very good friends with, Todd Sargent.
Oh, Todd, yeah.
And he never watches free to air anymore. He just watches YouTube.
YouTube, that's right.
And just says, no, I don't want to. I'll tell him something about what happened on the news. He go, don't tell me. I don't watch it. So it's a waste of time. So I get everything on YouTube. Is that the feel? That's the way. Is free to air television becoming that dinosaur roaming the earth?
Look, I'm going to sort of talk a bit more about the streamers, I think, because I tend to feel the streamers are trying so hard to catch up with having vast, banks of back catalogues or catalogues of content to keep up with people signing up. And I feel that I don't know about you, when you watch Netflix docos, for instance, I like Netflix, but, Netflix docos used to be kind of edgy and different. And I feel now when you watch a Netflix doco,
it's churned them out.
It's a formula, right? Like, it's filmed the very same way. They've got those 3 cameras. They've got that weird sort of profile shot. Everything's centered, and then it's all reconstructed vision. It's like, it's funny because when I sort of got taught about documentary filmmaking, it was all about not doing those things. It was about being in the moment of the story and capturing that and having less talking heads. Whereas now we're going back to a lot of that sort of manufactured doco stuff, which isn't. But I think that's where the opportunity is to come back with real docos and come back and say, well, this is the way people really love it.
I mean, you concentrated on short form, but would you, do you feel that's more of an art than long form? Trying to cram that in?
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. And a lot of
It's
people
almost
say,
like
how do you do it?
give us 40 minutes or 50 minutes and see what I can do. If you can do it in 3, it's almost like you've got so much time on your hands. It'd be almost like or sometimes having too much time on your hands is a bad thing.
Or you can overbake the idea too. Like you can just stretch it out too far and do too much with it, and then it's not really watchable. But I think the great thing with short films is you can communicate a pretty radical concept in a couple of minutes, and then you're done, and then you're on to the next thing, which is pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, it's I love short form, and I think I grew up in Newcastle advertising agencies and stuff, so I had to I'd have to cut 15-second commercials. When I left the industry, they were doing 5-second commercials, and you could only have 4 seconds of dialogue in that. So,
wow.
I think that was a good proving ground for if you can tell a story really quick.
I think I've told this story before. I might have been with we had Jai Curry on a few months ago, another film director from up here, and I ran into when I was working at NBN. We had to do a story on it's in Hunter Street. It's like a TAFE course on filmmaking, and when I was there, they were all like looking at the camera and they were all asking questions, and one of them said, they said, "Oh, we've got to do a short film. It's 5 minutes," and I went, "Wow!" I said, that'd be great. And they went, "Oh no, 5 minutes." I said, "Okay." I said, "This story here, I've got 1 minute and 17 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, do your short story in 1 minute and 17, and then work the other way.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes is a breeze.
And your story's out tonight.
And you've got to have
I'm
it
not sitting
cut.
in it for 6 weeks.
It's like a sausage machine.
Exactly.
Just the next one out.
Yeah,
but that's the way you had to do it.
Yeah.
Just staying on Tropfest. Was it Leanne McKessie? She won the Tropfest 2026, a Sydney mum, the film Crescendo.
Yeah, beautiful film.
Was there were so many films. Would have been a hard?
It's always impossible. Every time you watch those films and you go, I don't even pick favourites when I'm watching, because I just think it's they're all so vastly different.
Could it have been just like get in a barrel and just,
It could be. And I mean, a lot of it comes down to programming on the night. What's the sort of mix that they're putting in there for this year? The judging panel, like the weighting of the judges, who's there, what they're looking for. It's a crystal ball. But in the end of the day, I mean, I think for any filmmaker to be there and have your work represented, that's a huge honour. And, just to have the privilege of sitting there and having tens of thousands of people watching your story and giving you feedback as a filmmaker, that's incredible.
I mean, we mentioned before it's had a 6 or 7 year hiatus, but so important for budding filmmakers, isn't it, that it's back? Well,
it's a stepping stone. Like it really is a stepping stone in the industry, and we've got lots of short film festivals in Australia. We've got some fantastic short film fests. We've got there's a SF3 Smartphone Flick Fest in Sydney as well. which ran at the Opera House only a couple of weeks before Tropfest. It just specialises in films shot on mobile devices. A whole festival just based on that.
Yeah.
We got great film festivals, but there's nothing quite like Tropfest as a door opener, because when you win a big prize at Tropfest, and just the publicity, the machine that goes along with it, there's introductions, you get a nice big prize, and it really is a leg up. It's a way to be introduced to your next project and a bigger project.
Yeah, I doing my research on you last week, you mentioned, I might have read, know your ending first. Important?
Yeah, bloody hard though. Yeah, I mean, it's you got to know where you're taking it. A lot of people have a good idea for the start of a film, or an idea of something that's in the middle of a short film, and they just make it thinking, oh, the rest will just happen, it'll come together. But then it all falls apart. And that's when you watch a lot of short films in particular, and about halfway or 2/3 of the way through, you go like, oh, I thought that was going to end there, and then it keeps on going. That's where you lose people. So an incredible ending is really, really important, because you need to leave that an incredible ending and a remarkable beginning.
Also, too, you just mentioned a great starting point, but when you get into filmmaking for longer form, all of a sudden finances come in, getting things paid for, and it can sometimes change the scope of what you wanted to do in the first place to where you're going, which must be terribly frustrating. But with with short film, you don't have that worry as much.
Well, I mean, my first short film was shot for $57, and I only had to answer to myself, so that was nice and easy.
Well, we want to talk about there was 18 years ago that you...
Is it that long?
Yeah.
18, yeah.
I mean, what was it like back then? I mean, was it all shiny and new for you at the time?
Yeah, well, I mean, Tropfest was massive in Australia. Then John Paulson had also started up this American franchise, Tropfest New York. So it was all sort of glitzy and glamorous. And I remember a good mate of mine, Shane Emmett, we were just riffing one day about Tropfest and wanting one day to get in there. And I had my very first smartphone with a camera on it that could record video. So the one I had before, I can't remember what it was, but some Sony Ericsson thing. It only took stills, it didn't take video, and it could play music, like had a Walkman thing on it. And then I had this Nokia N95, this little slide-out keyboard, mechanical keys and things, but it had a video camera. And I was just super curious at that stage, would these things that we start fitting in our pockets now, because before that, phones were bricks that you'd carry around in a case and plug into your car and hang off your dashboard with a big curly cord coming off it. I was just super curious, could one day these things make real stories, even though the cameras are pretty basic in it. Yeah. So that was the challenge we set ourselves, Shane and I, was, okay, let's see what we can do with it. So we did a couple of tests with the camera. It was pretty basic. I mean, it had no ability to control the focus or the exposure, so it was just point and shoot like a digital box brownie, and it was square, like old 4x3 video, just the old sort of square box kind of stuff. And it certainly wasn't HD. It was like VGA resolution, I think, in the days of those big old bad square computer screens. And when we were filming with it, we're like, it's not really filming anything very beautifully. But then I think probably by accident we started filming stuff around us, words and things, and went, actually it's pretty good at just filming words on signs. And I thought, I wonder if that could be a film, if we could just wander around and then just create a vocabulary just from words we find in the street, and then we cut that together into some sort of story.
We can have a look at that.
You got
so
that
this
too.
is what you want.
This is super high tech. The production, not this film.
So this is the winner, Tropfest
2008.
New York.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you see that? I mean, because that really set you on your course, didn't it?
Yeah.
You probably
Yeah.
watched that a million times.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times.
but do you still look at it and go, wow, it pushed me towards
Yeah.
where I am now?
It was a breakthrough piece which we didn't see coming. So, Shane and I were sort of mucking around with capturing all of those words.
Yeah.
When we're filming, we didn't even know the story that we were going to tell. Like, it was classic, do not make a film this way.
Yeah.
We were just hosing. We were just filming every word we could find. I think we ended up with roughly, 1,200 words. And we Bluetoothed it from this little Nokia to the Mac. And then I remember Shane and I, we had for night after night, we were just printing out these lists of words on the table going like, where do we start? We did realise when we were filming it that we were really affected by how many homeless people were in the city.
Yeah. And that's the thing
And
too.
we
I
want
mean,
to
that's,
make it about that.
I mean, you could release that again right now and we've still got the same problem.
Yeah.
But far worse.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
probably the sad thing about it is that, homelessness never stops.
No. And it's so much easier to ignore it than to do anything about it. That's the thing. So that's why we were drawn to making that the story, because we felt we realised how easy it was to walk past people and not ask their name or ask if they're okay or, you and I fall over in the street and break an arm or a leg and you have 20 people come rushing up to you going, you okay, you want, Whereas if someone there with their whole life broken and people just ignore them.
But you know what? I think I may have said this on a previous podcast that I've always, even when I was at NBN working as a reporter, you drive past, I'd love to get one of them and just sit them down and go, how did you get here? And obviously not 9 times out of 10 they probably say get stuffed, but it's almost like what course of events, because again they come from backgrounds where they were affluent and in a good position, and something happened in their life that got them to that. It would be as a filmmaker. I'm not a filmmaker, but I'd love to start it from there and reel it back.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. A lot of them are up for a chat, and Shane and I spent a lot of time with homeless in and around Sydney. We did a lot of work with Mission Australia as well around that time, and we stayed on the streets at night. When there was guys that don't want to talk. There's guys that are just like want to live that way. There's some people they're poets or they're artists, and they feel that that's their most closest connection to source of humanity is to be there. There's others that have just through no particular fault of their own ended up in a horrible position in life with nothing left, and that was their only resource that they could go to. And I heard it quoted, I think it was through Mission Australia back then, like most Australians, I think like I won't quote a figure because it'll be wrong, but a staggering proportion of Australians are only like ever 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless themselves.
The amazing thing about I've gone back to laying carpet as a tradesman, and I take for example up at Nelson Bay, I do so many vacant homes that sit there and units that just sit there for their owner to come up Christmas time or whenever they can. And there was 3 blocks of units that had 8 units per block, so there's 24 units, and I had to do the internal staircases, and so I have to open the doors to finish the carpet off in these units. And the real estate agent gave me a big keys. Like, I said, "What's this for?" And they said, "Well, 22 of the 24 are vacant." And you think, and it's not just that. There's massive houses where, again, it's their holiday homes, which, I mean, it's in a way they work hard to get that, and the government's always saying we want you to be self-sufficient. We don't go on the pension. So it's a two-way street. But it just breaks my heart when there's so much.
It's staggering.
And that's just in Nelson Bay.
Yeah.
You think,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty on the Central Coast, and
you compress that in a big city like Sydney or New York.
And I mean, there's this talk that the government want to tax people that have got these places, which will probably force them into wanting to let them out more often. But whether they do or not, just with that film, is that your closest piece of perfection? Is it perfection? Is anything perfect?
I don't think I can call it that. I mean, I don't know if I could call anything I've done perfection, to be honest. I think every time you make something, that whole process is iterative. So you want to change and correct and keep going.
It's
Other
like-
people think in their eyes it might be. I can still look at it and go, oh, it's such a blocky picture. It's such a horrible camera. But, it was fit for purpose. And often when we've shown that sort of in a teaching resource, people will go like, I completely didn't think about the pictures. I was reading the words and I was caught up in the message, which I suppose is what you want with a film. I do want to mention too, like a film like that, as a conceptual thing, it was, one thing. It really came alive with another great team member who joined us in the production of that, and he's a Central Coast-based composer by the name of John Roy. And literally, Shane and I had filmed all of these words, and I phoned John, and I'm not musical. That's the one thing that really shits me, apart from not swimming, is I'm not musical. I wish I'd learned a musical instrument. And I have to brief, like I've briefed many composers and musicians in their time about scoring music for film and commercial work. But with John, it was like, John, we're going to do this Tropfest. We're going to enter a film festival called Tropfest in New York. We filmed all of these words on signs. We're going to make about a 3.5-minute film probably, and it's going to be about homelessness. But we don't know what it is yet because we hadn't worked out the lines yet. There was no words that made sense to us yet at that stage. But we knew we needed to get started with it. So we gave John an A4 sheet of paper with about a dozen pictures on it. And I just said 3.5 minutes and do something on your piano, make a plinky plonk with that space in such a way that I can cut words to it.
Yep.
And he goes, okay.
I think we've got a picture of them.
There's John. There's John. There's Shane. Yeah. And
look at you. You look like a bloody...
Don't even start. Blur that hair out.
You look like...
What was I thinking?
Look like you should be in a boy band.
I know, right? Yeah, well, it's another really embarrassing photo. Shane and I took a selfie in Times Square. And it looks like we're trying to be a boy band. It's so funny. But John over here, this is another award we won for the same film, an IF award. He scored that piece without seeing the film. Everyone always thought, the film was cut, and then he saw it and then scored that music to it perfectly. No, he had to imagine what was in our head.
Because when I saw that the other day, and I thought it felt like the music was first.
Yeah. Yeah, and normally that's how I would work.
Yeah. Normally
I would find a piece of music that really speaks to me, and then I use that as a creative base to edit to. And so it was, like I said, this whole production of this film was completely arse about and not the way you'd make a film. But anyway, John scored that piece and threw it away. So he phoned me 2 days later and he goes, JC, I just want to let you know I'm working on it. I mucked around with one track, but I didn't like it. So I've started something else. And then I went, and I've started editing at this stage and I had nothing to edit to. I had no music. And so can you just play me a little bit of what you threw away, just so I can sort of get a feel of where you're going or what you tried. And he didn't want to play it. Anyway, he did. And I think I almost wept instantly when I heard it, just because it felt so right for it. And I mean, you can feel the strings in the piano breathing, like and the sustained pedal. You can hear everything in it, so pure and so beautiful. And we just said, that's it, John. That's the track. That has to be it. And he, no, I'm working on something better, because he was working on a bigger arrangement, more instruments. And we're like, I love the fact that it's so simplistic.
Yes.
And so we said, can you give us? We'll do your deal. Let us have a play with this and convince you it's the right track for it, right?
And it's one of those songs. I mean, just those. It stuck in my head. It was one of those ones where it was in my head for the next 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah,
couldn't get it out.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. And to John's credit, that is, I feel, a large reason that film travelled as much as it did in different festivals is because that music created the emotional core of the film.
At Elk Architecture, we don't just design buildings, we shape the spaces where life happens. From concept to construction, our award-winning architects bring our vision to life with precision, passion, and purpose. Whether it's your dream home or your next big commercial project, trust Elk Architecture to build what matters most. Elk Architecture, designed for life, built for the future.
Have you ever thought about, again, I mentioned it before, but have you ever about thinking doing longer form movies or films?
Yeah, I have. I have worked on longer form projects back in 2007, we worked on with a local crew on a historical mining documentary called Lockout about the great mining riot in Rothbury.
Yep.
And we did that for the History Channel. So that was a longer format work and hour and a half. I don't even know where we'd find it anymore, but it'd be around somewhere.
Yeah.
But it was a good one to work on. We did a lot of reconstruction stuff and like recreation of those early period scenes. And then later on, more recently in life, I worked on a feature documentary in 2022.
Was it, again, getting back to funding, is that the biggest sticking point?
Yeah, well, I mean, the longer you go with a film, it's the bigger the crew, the more people. Everyone needs to make a living out of it, you know.
Yeah.
And as not as grandiose living as what people think too. Like, you know, when you're working on a larger format film, you know, everyone's getting paid base rates, industry rates for editing, for filming, for everything. And it's only if your film's like some ridiculous standout success in the theatres or, you know, it gets snapped up at Sundance or something, you get another bit of cash in the kitty for you to distribute.
I did a 3-part documentary series on Channel 10, which went to air called Passionate Players. And it's funny how, again, we talked before about, originally it was about incredible lives. It was virtually that. It was about, you know, people that might be a doctor Monday to Friday, but might be a world champion, you know, parachuter on the weekend, or just doing something completely arse about of what they normally do for their bread and butter, you know. And Channel 10 said, "Oh, that's great, you know, but you know that it's going to cost $80,000 per episode."
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, nearly $250,000. You know, great idea, but we're not going to give you the money. And then you start realising this is going to be hard. So then I had to skewer it into millionaires or billionaires, and it was called Passionate Players in regards to how billionaires spent their lives. But it was still great stories where they, you know, again, you have to sort of build it up of how they made their money, but they were actually doing good stuff with their money, which was admirable, you know, and that's what made it. And I remember we did one of the episodes was on the race, the Everest, the horse race. So it was richest people in the world and the richest horse race in the world. So this was the very first time it was the second running because it had been done the year before. But the Star Casino was the place that was funding it, you know. So we had a scene, I think we went downstairs in the vault. Oh, and I'm just going, film the shit out of this. Yeah. Like I'm talking blokes pulling bricks of money into this. So we needed
they won't miss a couple of those.
So we had to go from $10 million from the basement. This is like there's about 3 like down below the floor up, and that was a scene getting $10 million from there to the penthouse with these guys. But while I was there, again, I'm going, there's a documentary in this casino with all these people that are working there. Like there was a lady that was just to the left of that scene on the right, where she was just, the money was coming in like, and she was just bounding it, brick.
That's a job.
I said, you're touching millions of dollars every day. And she went, yeah, actually I am. And then this bucket of like those old baby buckets you put the nappies in, came in off the floor from the pokies room, just full of gold coins. And then another one would come in. And I'm sort of going, you know, there's so many different. There was one guy that he was a chef that I met, and apparently some rich guy was eating one night and lost his false teeth in the food, and it's gone, and he didn't even realise it's gone out in the bin. And he goes, I had to go out in the bin. Probably a bucket
for those as well, have they?
That's right. But I had to go in the bin in the dumpster the next morning trying to find this, you know. I said, what a scene would have that been, But in a long story short, they wouldn't. I actually had meetings with the casino, but they wouldn't do it because it was going to be glorifying money. Because again, I said, if we do this, I want to be in the high rollers room. Yeah. That's part of it. But they just shut it down. And it was just like this great story. But another one where you're sort of doing something and then see something on the side and go, oh, I'd love this.
I know, but then you see the scale of that sort of wealth, right?
Yeah.
And then you think back to the hoops you have to jump through to get the funding to do your show, your series. And you're like, this is like a drop in the bucket compared to what I'm saying.
I know, but then the rigmarole of just even pitching it to the casino, getting the people in that room to do it, and it all fell over anyway. And it was just like, that's, I got one that stuck. It was that was part of it. Your mum, Oma, maybe around 2 years ago, she passed away.
4.
4.
Yeah,
wow.
4 already.
Jeez. Yeah. You turned her into an internet celebrity, didn't you?
Accidentally. Yeah. There was no intention of doing it. And then, how do you control that?
It was obviously a film regarding your family's story of navigating dementia and being a carer, which is something that so many people go through, and it can just happen in an instant. Your life's normal, and all of a sudden you've got to be a carer.
Yep.
Is that at the time? Was it a case of we need to get this on film? Was it something that you thought?
I'll tell you where it started. I'm a filmmaker, so I'm constantly documenting all the time in our family.
But did you feel like it may be crossing the line of your mum at the time, or was it like a bit of a should I be doing this?
I'll tell you why not. It started with me documenting my father. So my dad died in 2012, I think, from cancer. And when we knew he was terminal, I started filming him a lot and filming my parents in their house.
Yep.
Because I wanted to have a record of them together. I wanted to capture their story. We spent a full day interviewing them about their life. This sort of deep kind of meaningful conversation where you can just keep it for the family's sake forever. And I had no idea what I was going to do with it or if I was going to do anything with it other than I needed it for family history to have this. And so I was documenting my dad, my mum along with him, and we lost Dad. I ended up making a little film about him, but not from what we documented, from something else. And then I just kept on filming Mum because, Mum was navigating life on her own, but she was always one of those incredibly strong sort of matriarchal figures. She's that sort of quintessential Dutch matriarch where she's got to know everything that's going on the street. Like it's that little face behind the windows like going, who's parking on the nature strip there? Might take down that registration. Like she was onto everything, but she would do anything for everyone. Yeah. Like she was the woman in our street in their local area there where whoever went on holidays, my mum was the one that would go and bring the bins in, take them out, get the mail, water the garden, feed the dogs, whatever had to be done, right? She was the go-to for everyone with all that stuff. But then gradually, I think I was initially filming her out of this admiration for the fact that she's still going and she still could maintain a purpose on her own when your life partner is all of a sudden vacated the seat, and you're realising life is completely different for you now. And she didn't drive either, so she's very reliant on my dad for getting around. And then when he was gone, he was like, well, it was down to the rest of the family. But I was documenting her all through that time. And unknowingly, at that stage, we realised once Dad went, all of our attention was so focused on my dad's health and his decline. Nobody ever looked at Mum and said, what's going on with you? You're also ageing. And it wasn't until Dad was gone that we realised that there was a deficit with Mum, that there was something that had changed. Yeah. And initially we thought, maybe it's grief. Maybe it's just a sign of grief. Yeah. Grief embodies itself in so many different ways. But then it grew into more things, and it wasn't safe for Mum to be on her own anymore. She couldn't find her way around. She was falling and stumbling a lot. So, we then offered for her to, our family, we were living in Terrigal in a rental. There's no way we could fit my mum in there because we had a young family ourselves. Yep. And then we said, look, we're going to have to find another solution. So I spoke with Megan, my wife, and we said, well, we're going to have to buy a place big enough for your mum to come in as well, and we're going to have to look after her. And I think it was incredible that her first instinct was, well, she can come and live with us. Yeah. Because that's a massive decision to make in any family. Yeah. But that's what we did, and we ended up finding a place, and Mum in 2017 came and moved in with us, and we had a granny flat on the house, so it was great. She had her agency, she had her place, she could be her, but then we could all be together at the right time when we needed to be as well.
I think we got a trailer of...
Shopping at home.
Yeah, we've made a shopping centre at home, especially for you. It's a bit hard because we can't take you to the shops, so we thought we'd bring the shops to you. Okay. Just for fun, here we go.
Filmmaker Jason Van Genderen has melted hearts around the world.
Hi, Oma.
Hi. Hello. Hello. Hello, Oma.
Isn't it beautiful? She's got Alzheimer's in her brain. It works and doesn't work.
Yeah.
There will be a time where it won't be possible for you to care for her at home.
Does anything hurt or sting?
Because we've mucked with her routine, it's just really affecting a lot of other things.
What's the matter with the fridge, darling?
There's so much in the fridge, does look mine.
I hate it when I get scared. I hate it when I feel out of control because we're just so used to fixing things, but that's something you can't fix. When I started filming all those years ago, it wasn't just about capturing memories. You showed that life isn't just getting to tomorrow. It's about finding the best in today.
Beautiful, Jason.
Thank you.
But it took a lot out of you, didn't it?
Turn me inside out. I mean, the whole experience of, as you sort of said before, how do you prepare to be a carer? I never thought of myself as a carer. My wife never thought of herself as a carer. I was my mother's son. Megan was her daughter-in-law. It just feels all of a sudden like a switch gets flicked and you become like their brain. Like you need to function for everything that they can't. And that became so all-consuming. And particularly during COVID, I mean, the guts of what you saw in the film there happened around lockdowns during COVID. So my mum was very happy living with us from the get-go. As soon as that dreaded time happened in 2019, how do you explain to someone with dementia what lockdown is? They can't even explain what COVID is. We had to keep trying to paint this picture of, the air is poisonous outside. We can't go out kind of thing, because she was we had just got her into this beautiful routine of living with us. And then every morning at 10 o'clock, we go down to the little cafe in Foresters Beach there in the shops, and she'd sit there and she was at Little Rocks. Everyone would just say hello to her and she loved it. So that was her outing every morning. She'd go for a cup of coffee. Tuesdays was going to the shop, to the local Coles and doing a shopping. And she had these things cemented in the week, which we just could not move. They were her routine. Then all of a sudden it was like, we're not doing any of that. And she thought it was us. She thought we were stopping all of those things. And so then we're like, how do we, it was just this very, very sad battle of we're dealing with our own mental health as a family, as everybody around the world was, right? How do we, everyone was navigating a complete change in family dynamics, the way we live, the way we exercise, the way we work. And for a lot of us, work was drying up, particularly if you ran your own business. It was like hardly anything you could do. So you're navigating all of that, but then you're also navigating the fact that, okay, well, we've also got to make something work for her. Yeah. So the only logic we could pull out of that, and I still remember the conversation really clearly one night at dinner, we just sat around as a family. Mum wasn't there. as she was having dinner on her own, and we said we've got to do something just to make her world happier. What do we do? And we thought we could recreate bits of the outside world, but at home.
Yeah.
That was the only thing we could think of doing. And I mean, being creative and being a filmmaker, I thought, well, I'm going to try anything.
Yeah.
Everything at my disposal I'm going to use to try and make this work. And so I think my eldest son said, why don't we reinstate shopping so she can do shopping, but we just do it here at home. So we did that. We ordered all the shopping online, and then on the bench, the table there, which is now a bar, we'd set up all of her stuff, and then we brought her in for shopping. We filmed. My son filmed that as a little bit. Everyone always thinks, "Oh, Jason, you filmed that and you staged that." It's like, well, no, I didn't even film it. My son filmed it, and I cut it together and put it up on my Facebook page to let my family and friends know this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing about Mum. This is what we're trying, and thought nothing more of it, and then went to bed and then woke up and the phone had just blown up, and it had been shared hundreds of thousands of times. When within days it had 30, 40 million views on it. All the media outlets around the world had picked it up and were showing it, and we were getting requests for interviews and we saw some of the shows that we were on. Like, it was insane. We converted a bedroom into a little mobile broadcasting room just to be able to handle the podcasts and the TV crosses. And again, this is all new territory because it was in lockdown. Nobody was sending out a crew. Everything had to be done remotely with an iPad.
That's right.
It was just really, really basic stuff.
I think we've got some nice pictures of that's your favourite picture of her,
that's my favourite picture, yeah. Yeah, I think that one. So this is after, this is relatively late in the journey for her. She was, unfortunately, we couldn't keep her at home anymore because she was falling every day. So, we had ambulances coming out 2-3 times a week. It was, Megan and I had trained ourselves on triage stuff ourselves, but whenever you fall and there's a head injury involved, you have to go to hospital. You have to get a scan. So she was in care at this stage. It was only 7 minutes from our house, so it was close. We could go. We'd planned it all, right? It was like, okay, Mum, you're going to be in the best of care. She had her own room. We furnished it exactly as her lounge room was in the granny flat. Exactly. Wow. Everything in the same spot. And we brought her there. We told her this was going to be a much safer space for her. And she was really compliant. Yeah. Because she walked in that room, she felt comfortable. Everything she knew was in that room, all her furniture, everything was the same. She felt great about it. And then the next day was a lockdown. So we just moved Mum in, and then we had lockdown. And then on our Instagram page, actually, I had put up photos or little videos every day we visited Mum. And on the days where we couldn't go in because of lockdown restrictions, or families were restricted to like 2 visits a week max. You had to book them in, and you could do window visits. That was what that photo was from, a window visit. We grayed out the photos so you could see visually, like on a map, out of all the times we actually could see Mum and the days we couldn't see Mum. So it just created kind of like a grid of loneliness, and her looking through that window, like, it's still her beautiful, positive attitude. Like, she's still looking for what's on the other side of the glass. She could hardly hear us. But to me, it just wraps up dementia. Like, there's slivers and elements of her there, but there's this world of reflection and noise around her that's also part of her.
Was it, as far as your kids are concerned, I mean, the fact that, in years to come they can look back at that. It's a real special time. Probably at the time you don't realise it, but they probably would get a real kick out of it. It's another beautiful kick, I think.
My son...
there was another one where she was next to a table, just her.
This is us on one of our walks down to the beach, end of our road. This was our little circuit breaker when stuff got really tough at home, when we'd had a disagreement about something or whatever. We just agreed to walk. We wouldn't talk. We'd just walk to the end of the street, look at the ocean, reset, and then walk back, and it was all forgotten. And I needed as much as she did.
There he is.
There we go. Yeah, that's my youngest. Oh, that's when Evie was like tiny, tiny. So this is the thing.
I love that picture.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Like, and even at this age, Evie would habitually go and help my mum with like a handbag. You know, like when we come home, my daughter knew exactly where the handbag went in the cupboard, so she'd go and start doing it. And there would be classic. Megan and I would laugh about it because my mum would be like running after Evie, going like, "Oh no, that's my bag, don't take it." It was Evie's just like, "I'm trying to do a good thing, I'm going to put it back," and we're like, "She's just trying to help, Mum, it's all right." But you know, just that interplay was beautiful. That always kept everything light and bubbly. Art, my youngest son, he's got super vivid memories of his time with Omar. They had a really beautiful connection, and I think their relationship taught Megan and I how to deal with Mum, you know, because he had, ironically, the patience of a saint when it comes to having to repeat something over 6 times, or
but even just
he'd grab a hand, the power of touch.
Yeah.
We learnt this from him. It's like he knew what to do instinctively. He'd hold a hand and go, "Omar," and he'd wait till she'd locked eyes on him and he'd go, "Omar, I'm going to say this really slowly." We're like, wow, this is a masterclass of how to do this.
But it just in that trailer there, you know, some of the things he said, you know, it was almost like it was just raw. A kid just, you know, asking.
I think when he says, you know, "Oh, she's got Alzheimer's." Sometimes, she's doing something with her brain. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like, dude, that's exactly what it is.
I mean, you mentioned about homelessness, in regards to working with, organisations. I mean, has it given you that sort of branch to work with people, maybe more with carers probably? Because again, it's probably the carers are the people that are the forgotten, whether the carers for Alzheimer's or dementia or even cancer patients. They're the ones that really battle.
It's staggering. Megan and I have done a lot of advocacy work with dementia and the carer space in Australia. There's 423 or 5,000 Aussies living with dementia, form of dementia. There's over 100 types.
Yep.
There's dementias that affect kids. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine that? Kids can get dementia, not just adults.
Blows your mind.
And the amount of Aussies involved in the care of someone is staggering. Yeah. That's a huge proportion of our population. So being able to give back to that space, Megan and I have done a lot of talks. We shared our story. We did a Q&A trip around Australia with a film and that was probably out of the making. We talked earlier about, what's it like making a film and showing it at a festival and getting all the accolades and stuff. Yeah. It's different with something like this because this is a personal journey.
Well, it's almost like carers can be an aid to another carer because they're all different everyone's got different situations and it can help maybe down the track.
But so many carers are hidden, and they don't see other people out there representing them. Yeah. And so I think when we put our film out there, and we did the Q&A tour around Australia, we had families come to a screening that was the first time they'd seen their own representation validated on a screen. Yeah. And they went, "That's us. That's what we go through." Yeah. And the conversations we had after those screenings were fantastic. Like that to me was the payoff, was meeting these families. We would always have like a 40-minute Q&A after the screening, but we'd go out in the foyer. We'd be there for another 2 hours. It was big.
It's almost like they want to talk. It's almost it's been inside them, and it's almost like finally we get to talk to someone that knows what we're talking about.
Completely, and you can't turn away from that. That's not. You can't just say, "Right, we're wrapped. We've got to." Like it's like they came, they went out of their way. They've gone to great pains as carers to be here and see this film because somebody else has had to take care of their loved one. So we knew all the steps they had to go through to get there. We knew the risk and the wage. So giving them our time was the least we could do.
Tired of missing out on the best properties? Stop searching, start winning. At Optimum Buyers Agency, we work for you, not the seller. We negotiate harder, we move faster, we find the homes others don't. Off-market deals, smart strategy, real results. Whether it's your first home or your forever home, we make it happen. Optimum Buyers Agency, your edge in a competitive market. Now, iPhones. Obviously, you love your iPhones, but you took a picture of a fly recently.
Oh, did you see that?
My God!
I was only looking at this the other day. Yeah, this is
you are not going to believe what I'm about to show you.
this photo was taken on the standard wide-angle lens on my iPhone. I then went in closer to this little blue fly and check out on macro mode the level of insane detail you can see on this fly. The hairs, the lenses inside the little compound eye, everything. It's just incredible that you can get this level of detail on a smartphone camera. I have never seen this before. It is absolutely insane. It is insane. I like now you just look at that and go, it's probably AI, but it's not.
Well, that's the thing. You know, you see so many things these days where you probably go, oh, that's probably even on Twitter. I'm still on Twitter, but I don't look at it as much, especially the videos, because you look at things, go, yeah, no, what am I doing? It's like I don't even know. I'm wasting my time because I might be looking at something that's not even real.
And then you're then that you go down that whole rabbit hole of, hang on a second, I'm spending time interacting with things that don't exist.
Exactly.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
But is that a bit of a worry too, especially with people that are filming? You know, they do some incredible stuff, which we're going to show very soon. And then people might not think it's real anyway.
Yeah,
it's
too perfect. I think we when things are too perfect, it's.
What's your thoughts on AI?
I'm really scared by it. I understand it. You know, I'm not a Luddite. Like, I get it. I understand where it fits. And I've used AI not as heavily as a lot of people hang around with.
Yeah.
But I think I'm worried that the value exchange of what we make when we create things will disappear when the effort's gone in making things. That's the thing I'm sad for. So for me, like, my jaw has dropped. I've seen the most incredible scenes in a movie rendered purely with AI prompts. Staggering.
Yeah.
Like, incredible stuff. And I would not be able to pick it at all, right? And I walk away from that and I go, that's a whole camera department gone.
Yeah.
That's, costume, location management, editing. Like, I just rattle off in my head the industries that are just disappeared.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I want that. Like,
yeah.
I'm almost going back to an overly analog life again. Like, I've gone back to listening to my music on vinyl. Like, I'm yearning for that now. Like, I'm going back to those curated experiences to say, I want to go back to a TV that I can turn on and it's only got 3 channels.
Yeah.
I almost want that, because I kind of craved the fact that it felt like everything had more meaning and more intention when it was more scarce.
Yeah.
When everything becomes so plentiful and limitless, where do we place the value in it? And like you were just saying with, just having to kind of check what you're looking at on socials or on Twitter, I'm sure most people, if they knew the amount of stuff that they were engaging with that wasn't even from a real person, would probably, that's a good conversation towards having an existential crisis about what you're doing in your life,
Just with phones with your kids, how old do they have to be before they get one in their hand, or they already got them?
No, they don't have phones at all. They don't have an iPad even. So, they'll be watching this too. They'll know. So Artie's Artie's going to be 12 this year, so that's a tricky age.
Yeah.
Evie's going to be 7 this year. But they don't. We've brought them up, even though I'm obsessed with filming on my phone, and this has been my primary camera tool for a decade at least. They know that that's not accessible technology to them.
Yeah.
We're really, Megan and I are really tight on controlling that. They get access to it. They can look at stuff. They look up pictures to draw and things like that, but they're certainly not sitting there on their own device just wasting their day away in a void,
Yeah.
I know. I feel sad when I see other families that their kids are just so disconnected from what the family's doing because they have no interest in looking out the window of the car.
Or even, at dinner, you've got the kids just sitting there watching Bluey or something like that, and you're sort of going, like, there's no interaction. No. And it's almost like you try and take it off them. You should see them.
It's like a parallel universe. It's like they're living a different life to what the rest of the family's living. It's, and I know it's not easy for families. People are busy. they're tired, they come home from working, they've got to get dinner on. They're like, I get it, I understand it. It's just like AI. There's a place and a purpose, but we need to be able to, as parents, I think part of our job is we need to be able to control access to the right things too, because before you know it, things can get so out of control and then you can't wind it back.
What's funny, we've got a picture of this was the youngest kid that's filmed a short film. I think her name's Alexis Zung.
This is the Smartphone Flickfest, SF3. This is what I was talking about before that was at the Opera House. Yeah, incredible.
Your kids going at home watching this going, oh, come on, Dad.
Thanks, Kenny. Now, Dad's got to give me a phone to film a Tropfest entry on. I can see what's happening here. They've lined you up, haven't they?
but the phones have just evolved so much. And again, I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast where we're at a stakeout for the South Sydney Rabbitohs coach. He was going to come out of a grandstand and Channel 9 had one end and we had the other and 7 in the middle. And it was just like, whoever gets in, we're going to swap the film, Anyway, I get a phone call from work and they said, mate, you're going to lose your cameraman. There's a press conference, a doorstop in George Street, the premiere. You've lost your cameraman.
Yeah, it's all over Red Rover.
It's like being in, Black Hawk Down. You've lost your ammo.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, but the phone they gave me was a beauty, and I said, I'm just going to have to do it on my phone.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Good
funny
on
enough,
you.
5 minutes later, he's come out, and I'm bouncing. I'm talking, you're about to lose your job, Anthony. I kept a steady hand. I got back, and they ingested it, and they're going, wow, it's great vision. We'll put that on the updates. Who shot that? And I was about to say I did on the phone, but then I'm thinking, if I say that to them, this is where things were starting to evolve.
Yeah, what happens to the cameraman?
The cameraman loses a job. And I just went, oh, that was Roy. He did it just before he got there, had to leave sort of thing, But he goes, wow, because he was walking backwards and it was like, how was he doing, And again, I just didn't want to say it because, again, you don't want jobs to be lost. But you can tell even now, video journalism, you don't need a man, No offence, Dave.
Dave's fantastic. He's doing an amazing job. He's here forever. But you're right. I mean, you look at I look at the newspaper industry that's very much gone down that road. Everyone, reporters are shooting video and stills, and writing, and producing and editing.
Yeah,
like they're doing everything in the one, and they're doing it for a 2:00 deadline. Like it's
crazy.
Things have changed dramatically. But I consulted Seven West Media years ago when the iPhones, everyone started to say, oh, the iPhone was shooting really good vision. So I did some consulting for them about how, their programs could use iPhones as part of the camera kit. It wasn't saying switch it, every camera's got its place and its look, right?
Yeah.
This creates a particular look and is good for a certain circumstance.
Yeah.
This camera's great for a certain look and a certain circumstance. So it was about saying this is not a replacement tool, but this is one that should be in the kit because for those instances where all of a sudden the camo's off and someone else has got to grab the shot and the only camera they're going to know how to use is this one.
Well, I remember they put me on news for a while too when there was some sort of accident and the cameraman's shooting and he looked around, what are you doing? And I had my camera and I was going like this, and he goes, what are you doing? I went, exclusive vision. It's come
Citizen
from
journalism.
A member of the public.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, just put a few fingerprints on the lens. And
you recently came back from Africa for a very specific reason, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But some of the videos and images are simply breathtaking. So this is on the iPhone 17 Pro.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
The lighting.
This is photographed in a nature hide in a part of Kenya called the Shampoli Conservancy. It's a beautiful little waterhole. It's only relatively tiny. There's a nature hide that's sort of been subset into the ground. So the window that you're shooting out of is at the water level, and they have control of lighting. So there's side lights, a top light on the building, and then there's a back light behind where the animals are standing. So they can just change the lighting depending on what's coming to the waterhole. And that was all all shot on my phone.
Did you sneeze then?
You know what? It was probably someone shooting a picture on a DSLR and it was going click, which wasn't happening on the iPhone. But it blew my mind. What you can capture these days, and very simply, I wasn't really employing. There's no tricks I was employing. I was just literally pointing and shooting and framing. Yeah. And this is another beautiful one. These elephants. We had a dust storm come through, and the whole hide filled with dust, and then it just pissed down with rain.
This is
for
spectacular.
20 minutes. Yeah. It looks like it's out of a Hollywood set, doesn't it?
But that's the thing too. We're talking about AI. I'll be looking at it going, right. How would you get that? How would you do that?
What prompts did you use for that, Jace?
Oh, man. But even some of the stills that you took of the elephants were just...
Yeah.
Oh.
And like they're just literally standing right in front of you and they can't see you. Like, incredible. And but again, with good lighting, any cinematographer or any photographer will say with great lighting...
Yeah,
even a pin camera can take an amazing image.
Yeah.
Like look at those eyes on that elephant. It's just staggering.
You blow it up and put that on your wall.
Yeah, yeah. It was so funny because in this nature hide, everyone else was shooting on big DSLRs, like $20,000 lenses, and zooming in on the eyeball of the elephant, and I'm just there going like, okay, yep. And because when you're shooting on the phone, you can see the picture straight away, whereas when you're shooting on a DSLR, it flashes up and then it disappears. So they're all just leaning across going like, oh, Jace, show that. And it's just because it's full screen and it's the image and they're like, wow, that's incredible. So, I asked the guy, so how many times have you had people come in here with just an iPhone to sit in a nature hide for 4 nights? And he goes, yeah, it's not often, but, he said it's producing a really good result.
Yeah. I think he also got one of the vultures.
Oh, yeah, that was in slow-mo, I think, wasn't it? Coming over a tree. Yeah.
I thought they
it's
might
pretty
have been
crazy.
coming out of the top of McDonald Jones Stadium if the Knights lose 5 in a row from the start.
Settle down, come on. But yeah, you'd look at planes like that, and this is the other thing I couldn't believe when I was over there was like, there'd be giraffes just wandering, then there'd be like a herd of elephants, and then there'd be like zebras just wandering on. I'm so used to seeing animals in a zoo, like going over there and just seeing things like that, and there's no fences.
Yeah.
Like we're staying in camps and there's no fences.
Well, when I was working for NBN on the Central Coast, I used to do a lot of stuff with Ken Duncan.
Yeah.
And I still love doing his stories because, again, you put the stories with a little bit of music in the background, a little bit of a musical montage. Anyway, he had some exhibition on and I said to him, just off the cuff, I said, what are you doing? What's next? He says, well, I'm about to go to India and shoot the Bengal tiger. And I went, not shoot as in shoot, but obviously shoot. And I went, wow, that'd be so good. And he said, Michael, come with me.
Did you go?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
but
he's an incredible talent.
But now you look back, and how many times is someone going to ask you that? And now I kick myself, and not just anyone, like Ken Duncan.
Yeah.
I just, there's one of those things in life where you look back and you go, oh, I didn't do it. But then at the time you're going, I've got house repayments. I've got
exactly.
More,
I got to work.
So you're doing so you probably would say the same thing, but again, knowing what you know now, obviously,
that's what it's all about. You learn those lessons. Next time the opportunity's there, you go like, maybe this one I've got to take.
Well, so you're driving down, it was a twister.
Oh, yeah, out the window. We were lost. We were trying to find this place. We were lost. Like everything looks like this. So like there was the track had disappeared. And then now the window was this like dust twister. Like look at it. So apparently they just start from the ground up.
Wow.
So because of the ambient temperature of the soil is so hot, it creates its own like wind going up.
Yeah.
And it went up for hundreds of feet.
Man.
Yeah, I wanted to stop the car and go back. But it was like we don't actually know where we're going, so we got to just keep on going.
There'll be another one coming around very soon. You're also a man of mystery, Jason.
Oh, here we go.
You accompany Donald Trump on occasion.
So A mate,
You're fired.
Yeah, amazing mate of mine, Hamish. He does fantastic impressions, and one of his favourite characters to do is the orange one.
Your Central Coast man?
Central Coast guy, yeah. He's an incredible voiceover artist. He's an amazing actor, and he did a couple little Donald Trump things on his social, and I cornered him one day and I said, dude, this is incredible. You got to do this properly. Like, you got to pimp yourself out for events, and like I said, we just get you a cap and half a wig and a suit and let's go. And then he said, oh yeah, but I'll need a security detail. I was like, oh. Okay, well, I have to film as well, but okay, I'll don a suit. So yeah, we did a little gig up at Nelson Bay just before Christmas.
This is so good. You've got the mouth.
But it's wonderful to be here in Nelson Bay. Tremendous place, and we've got beautiful views. And my Secret Service people have told me we've got over 10,000 people here tonight, which is tremendous. We've got great numbers, and we've got about 1 million people outside trying to get in because they all want to be here to see you all, which is absolutely fantastic. Very, very good. We're in for a wonderful night.
He's very good. I mean, I just got to stand there and look like an idiot, so it's
Is he getting much work? I reckon
he's
brilliant.
booking a few. Yeah. We did a couple towards the end of last year, and then I've been away for a couple of weeks, so I'm producing him, so I'm letting the team down. But yeah, he's got a huge future. He's an incredible
You need to bring
guy.
him up to Newcastle. I think we could. Mate,
you should have him on your show, and he could be like 6 characters, like seriously, and your head will spin.
Well, we've got a One Nation candidate coming up, so we could put him on next.
Bring him on. He'll take it.
Treehouse Creative, was that the little agency that could?
Yeah, it was. I was very fortunate. I grew up, working in Newcastle in Derby Street. At a little agency called AdMac Advertising, which was headed up by Art Ryan and Krista. And, they gave me my chance after school at having a proper art career.
Yep.
And I did that for 12 years, I think, 12, 13 years. And then I ended up moving to the Central Coast and started – I did the commute for a while and I went, oh, this is really hard.
Yeah.
Had a young baby as well in the house, and it was increasingly tough. So I decided to go.
Was it hard to break away from?
It
12
was.
years. 12 years.
Yeah, like I mean, Art and Krista are always part of my life, but they had to sell the agency to Enigma.
Yeah.
And it was just Enigma is a great agency.
Yeah.
You put two teams together in the same space, there's going to be people that drop off because there's duplicity of roles. I was an art director. They already had art directors, and I worked there for about a year, I think, and then just said, I've got to do my own thing now. So Treehouse was that.
But you also shot. You were one of the. Were you the first to use iPhones in shooting scenes for clients?
I don't know if I was the first. I know we were the first to become an iPhone-only production agency. So around 2014, 2015, I'd made enough short films on the phones now to realise the quality of what we could produce. I'd started, consulting for people like Seven West Media and ABC and all sorts of media brands on how to use the phones. I thought, well, we've got to jump in all in. So
also,
we did
Apple
commercials
as well. Apple collaborated with you.
I've done plenty of Apple talks. I shoot for Apple as well.
Yeah.
These days, not back then, but now I shoot for Apple. So we did regular television commercials, cinema ads.
Yep.
I pimped myself out as I don't know how the hell this happened, but there was a little kids show on Channel 7 called Get Arty, which was like one of those 4:30 in the afternoon shows with craft activities. And they had me on there as I was the smartphone camera guy, so I turned a presenter. But then we did one story at a film festival in Switzerland, which I went over to cover, and I filmed it all on a phone. So I filmed a whole TV segment for a regular TV show on a phone nobody knew.
Wow.
Yeah, all on phone.
And also, you left when you closed up shop. Was that one of the hardest things to do? It was almost like your baby and you've letting it go.
Because I had Treehouse for a good 20 years. And as with every small business, you go through your high points and your low points, and there was times there where I didn't know how I was going to scrape together the wage roll for the next week.
Was it a case of, I suppose, was the maker of your own, the creation of an iPhone, where social media is so big these days where a lot of people can do it themselves on their own phone and get it up without having to go to an ad agency. And I suppose a little bit like AdMac, I think one of the things was they were pretty much the only ones in town for a long while. And Art Ryan, who just came from NBN, he had that in with NBN. You have to go there, we'll make you an ad, we get it done. All of a sudden, they become the middleman.
Yep.
Whether you don't need to be, we can just.
Well, I remember even at AdMac, we used to use NBN crews and we used to use freelance cameramen all the time to shoot stuff. I remember when the first 3-chip video cameras came out, and we bought one, and it was like $12,000 or something ridiculous back then. And I was like, well, we can do simple TVCs ourselves.
Yeah,
we can record our own commercials here in house. Jason, you know how to hold a camera, don't you? So we'll just work it out. And we did. And I guess that's the era we're in now, is very much, people that sort of come from big production industry background are competing with people that are just freelancers or solopreneurs that are doing content for big brands but from home.
And some of them like it looking rough.
Yeah.
It's almost like like
some of them do a really polished job too.
Yeah.
Like there's all different sorts. But I love shooting on the phone was great for us because it gave us a point of difference. We ended up traveling the world doing amazing campaigns for all sorts of brands.
But do you know it was time?
It was. I'll tell you when it was time. When my mother's care. So all these things were intersecting.
Yep.
I had a great little agency. We had a team of 6. We had offices in Terrigal. We were hardly ever there because we were shooting interstate mostly. When Mum's care needs increased, I had to be home more. Then lockdown happened.
Yep.
All of our work was interstate. We had like one job that was local. How do you feed 6 people on that, So it was the perfect storm. And then I remember very crystal clear, I had my little work from home office right next to my mum's granny flat. And there was this one day I was trying to cut a commercial for Mitsubishi Electric and I was editing it. And my mother just was on the buzzer every 2.5, 3 minutes asking about lunch. And it was me just going in all the time and just trying to reassure her she'd had lunch. We'd already eaten, do you feel full? Yes, well, you've eaten lunch. We had it together. But that's on replay for an hour or two.
Yeah.
And then I kept coming back to the screen and looking at this picture and going, what am I here for? Like, where's my head? I'm either going to try and do this work, which other people can do, or I need to do the job that nobody else can do, which is look after my mum. So, and I chose that, and it was that crystal clear.
Yeah.
It was a line in the sand. It happened that day, and I closed that screen down. And that was the last commercial I ever cut. And I walked away from that, and I just went straight into Mum.
By doing that, did you feel like a boulder had rolled off your shoulders? Because it's something you did enjoy too, isn't it? Is there some things
I loved doing it, but I just, maybe because I'm male, I don't know. There was no way I could blend those worlds together to work. And increasingly, I realised life was changing and I had to change with it. And so I had to learn a new skill set. And I didn't know how I was going to make an income for my family back then. I was like, I don't know what we're going to do. But, we need to look after Mum, and that became the priority. And then we just worked it out, which we did in the end. I still did a bit of teaching here and there. I still do production now, but I certainly don't do the volume of what I used to do, back in the day.
How was your mental health after that?
Yeah, it took a turn. I distinctly remember, for a couple of years there, I wasn't sure, where I was going, what I was doing, what am I here for? And I think it's kind of that seasonality of, pre-50, I think is like one season of your life almost.
Yeah.
And it's kind of about building yourself. What has life got to give me?
Yeah.
How am I going to build up my wealth? How am I going to sustain my family? What holidays am I going on? What car am I going to? It's all those things as your first season, right?
Do you feel that in regards to your life, it's the way it is, you learn from things that have happened? Because you had a marriage breakup.
Yeah.
You're looking up, you're a single father, and you had to pick yourself back up off the canvas there. You're looking back and you feel that after something like that,
Cumulative maybe.
You can get there, you can say, well, I can do this. I'm not invincible, but I can do that. It's sometimes, adversity.
You can, but then the next challenge comes along and it's like, I'm so not skilled for this. Like I knew nothing about dementia. I knew nothing about, how to look after a parent that was failing. So I think there was a whole new skill set. And I think you try and draw on all those other things in life as you do. You hope that you learn from each stepping stone. But I think with that was just, I was grieving losing my work. I was grieving having to let my staff go, which my team had been with me, most of them for more than 10 years. Yeah. So these are really close friends. I'd seen their kids grow up. I'd seen them buy houses and cars, like that. We were a tight unit. To have to turn around to your team and say, we're not doing this anymore. That's hard. That took its toll on me. I felt like those moments where you just want to have a little hole you can dig into and just disappear. That's what I wanted to do.
Did anyone pick it up, like in regards to, one of those people that you've had to say, look, I'll take it over and keep it going?
Yeah, look, the team were great. They made me feel better about the circumstance of what I did.
Yeah.
And Megan's been an incredible force for me. I don't think I could have navigated that space without her by my side. But, again, it's that seasonality of life. I think, post 50, it was kind of like that second season of life, which is sort of like, well, what am I here for?
Yeah.
I've built my career. I've done the things that I think I wanted to do, but what does the second season of life bring? What do I serve a higher purpose? Where do I fit in community? What am I going to leave this world? You start thinking about all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's very much kind of the space I took myself into.
So do you feel when you hit 50, it feels like you're on the descent, and it's almost like, I've got to start doing some stuff, you really look back and go, why was I thinking this when I was 30 or even earlier?
Yeah.
But you get to that point where you're looking back going, man, and also too, so many people with cancer and dropping like flies. It's almost like, what are we doing?
And that's the other thing. People start dying around you. All of a sudden you hit that age and it's kind of like your older friends are having complications.
Yeah.
Some they can't recover from. So, people start falling away.
Or even people your same age and you're sort of going, why didn't that happen to me? Or, it's almost like, am I the lucky one here? Or am I? You don't know what's to come anyway. 11-11.
Yeah.
That's a new venture.
Yeah, so 11-11 is kind of just me. It's I still needed a production entity to operate under. As I said, I'm still doing work, but it's only me this time. So I chose 11-11 because that was my mother's birthday. So it's the 11th of November is her birthday. And my wife and I, for some reason, I don't know if you ever have this, whenever it's a particular time, for us it's 11:11 on our phone, we screenshot it and we send it to each other. And it happens every other day. Like, it's ridiculous how much we're trained to look at our phone at a particular time.
Well, my mother is the 12th of the 11th.
Oh, is she?
And the only way because I'm terrible with birthdays and stuff like that, but the only way I can remember it, it's the day after Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
That's the only way that's the only way I can remember it is from that. But
so I called it 11-11 essentially to honour, the gift she left me with in her passing and in her journey with dementia. Yeah. Her final gift was teaching not only myself but my kids the death process. So what is it like to die? And being grateful for presence. Like, I think when you spend time with anyone, with dementia, it's understanding you can reframe everything in life to be really, really grateful for the here and now. And that was something I was not used to doing because for me, like I said, in my first season of life, I was always like, tomorrow. It's the next holiday we're going to plan for. It's the next thing I'm saving for. It's the next shoot I'm doing over in, Cambodia, whatever it was. I was always looking forward. I don't feel like I ever stopped to look at today and ask whether today was enough. And that scared me.
Yeah.
And so my mum's journey forced me to look at today and go, you know what? Today's about talking about lunch. And we're going to be okay with that. We're going to survive today and we're going to get here and we're going to find some good. We're going to go and do that little walk down to the beach. We're going to reset and we're going to come back and we're going to have a cup of tea. It's going to be the best cup of tea you've had all day. You know, like it's just, it's a reframe of purpose.
Yeah.
And she, inevitably, she didn't know she was doing that. That's what she taught me. So that's very much what I'm trying to infuse in what I do now. And I'm trying to be more diverse as a creative. I'm dabbling in all sorts of weird and wacky stuff.
I was about to say, how's the incense making coming along?
Smoking, incense burning, yeah. So great, like, you know, again, I make herbal incense. I mean, I tell people that, and I think they're like, just should we dial him some help now, or should we let him finish talking? But yeah, it's this came about again. I don't know about you. I love burning incense. We love incense in the house, but I'm very particular with incense. It can't be that sickly sweet stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like the perfume stuff. It's got to be intentional and have a purpose.
You an incense man, Dave?
I can't say that I am, actually. But
I might bring you both around. I should have brought you some samples.
I'm open to it.
I called it guy sense because I'm trying to use incense as a way to get men to be intentional about stopping and pausing and thinking.
It's
and putting something on.
www.guysense.com if you want to try it. I reckon some incense on the table in front.
It's coming. It's coming.
Just right in the middle there. Yep.
Whoever you're interviewing next, they're going to wonder what the heck's going on, but it's burning in the middle of the table.
But this also came about, you were getting headaches, weren't you?
Yeah.
And this was helping.
Yeah. Well, ironically, I was a great friend of mine, Lacey, got me into meditation post my mum's journey. And that was one way I think I really just had to stop and calm my body and take stock of where we're at here and now. Through meditation, got to discover a really beautiful incense, and that's the sensation of smell made me pause and appreciate time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started getting headaches from some of the incense I was burning, and I started looking into it. I went, this is really weird. I became a migraine sufferer. So in routine tests from that, two things. One, I had to research ways to make incense that wouldn't trigger my migraine. So I couldn't use, synthetic oils and all those sorts of things. It had to be completely natural. But yeah, they in the routines kind of scans, we found a little spot in the brain, and then my radar went off, going like, "That's it, I've got dementia. It's my turn now." But it's it's inconclusive. Apparently, most people, if you get a scan on your brain, you'll find something. Hopefully, more than just a brain.
Well, the incense, I think was it created? Was it in Egypt? I think it was like 6,000 years ago. I
think you're right. Yeah. There's a couple of places that sort of concurrently came out with different burning rituals and things, but
I think India did it their own version, China, Japan.
Yeah.
This isn't just a gym, it's where limits get broken. A place where community comes together, sweat turns into strength, and every drop is progress. No excuses, no egos, just results. Join Fitstop Newcastle today, a start to a better you.
Art Ryan, a real pioneer of television, especially in Newcastle. How did you guys first meet?
I knocked on Art's door. So when I was out of high school, when I graduated, I had done some commercial art at home. I was freelancing as an illustrator. And then I realised, I need a regular job too. So I need to get work every single day of the week. So I went knocking on doors in Newcastle, and Art's advertising agency was called AdMac. I thought I could just get a job as an advertising illustrator. I didn't know there wasn't such a thing. It was all graphic art back then, So he said to me, look, I haven't got enough work to give you a job as an illustrator, but I'll take you on as work experience and I'll pay you for whatever you make. And that sounded like a great deal to me. So I started going, and I think it was less than a week, he'd given me a job and signed me up.
But before you went there, you knew the iconicness of this bloke in Newcastle.
Yeah, I didn't. Strangely enough, I didn't know Art as well as other people knew him locally. So obviously he was an icon of radio and TV. He had both. He had a kids show on NBN. He had Beating Around the Bush with Beat Hill. Papa Ryan, yeah.
The amount of times someone would call him Papa.
Yeah. He still loved it. Right to the end. He loved it when someone called him Papa. But, he's just a great guy. And both him and Krista really took me under their wing, as 19 or something. And I was pretty fresh-faced to the world. My parents are great, but, I was living in the, Morisset Peninsula. I was pretty sheltered from the big wide world out there. Yeah. So coming into Newcastle and working there under their wing was fantastic.
I mean, he was really at the coalface back in the day. You could pretty much walk into an office and say, I've got an idea for a show. Yeah. And they'd just say, how much money do you want?
Yeah.
Obviously it's totally different now, like we mentioned before. You got to, with things like The Block and stuff like that, it has to be totally sponsored just to get it over the line, where there was money, and some of the stories, even in Sydney with Channel 9, some of the wealth that was going around in regards to making stories, making shows. But that morning show, I think there's a video.
Oh, you got a clip?
Of all those old sets.
Yeah.
Children across the Hunter had their brekkie in front of NBN Television and the Breakfast Club. The star was Art Papa Ryan, and with his trusty assistant Leonie, they played cartoons and gave away prizes.
Right, Dean Smith of Adamstown.
Okay, Dean comes from Toohey Crescent, as a matter of fact.
He actually knew him. Oh, he comes from Toohey Crescent. Probably his mate.
Oh, how did it land on the NBN logo? Hey, how did they do that? That's magic. Look at that. Look, I mean, that was in everyone's lounge rooms, right? Like you said, there's two channels locally, so you were watching that or ABC, and ABC was a bit boring.
Yeah,
so.
That's what you watched. But I mean, there was that gap where there was a television show ready to be made, and he just jumped in. He jumped in. It,
He wasn't expecting to. He was a reluctant host.
Yeah,
because he kind of got thrown in the deep end to do it. But
I think most people at NBN were reluctant hosts in the end. It was always like, we had Mike Rabbit on. I think it was the first or second podcast, and he more or less said, he got in because they needed someone to talk about the local tennis.
Really?
And he's it's not me, but I'll do it. And
all
of a sudden,
there you go, career in broadcasting.
The sports journalist, the sports reader gets sick and, mate, can you do this? You read this? And it was so raw, wasn't it, Dave? Some of the stuff, the mistakes they'd make and people egging them on from the side. This is live television. And it was like, wow, But it felt like at that time, it was like they were like kids in a candy shop. They were at the coalface of something special, that real time.
And you know what? That kind of production was important back then too, because it felt like it was right in your family home.
Yeah.
Like they felt part of your family. You're tuning into them every day. Yeah. They were local voices, local faces. You felt.
And to the point where, in his later years, people still looked and he said, no, they know him. It's almost like he probably didn't know them, but it's like, we know you.
And he always said too, like he said, my one thing was I never wanted to speak to kids on TV like kids. I always spoke to them as an adult.
Yep.
Because I'd never wanted to talk down to them. And that was the one thing he was adamant about doing.
Yep.
And that became his hallmark. His trademark was I just speak to you one-on-one.
And beating around the bush, this was great. I think he actually said, he wanted to show kids that animals weren't that scary.
Yeah.
Apart from the snakes, I suppose.
Even though he is pretty shit scared of most of them, but yeah.
Here's what I was trying to find.
I've been working as an advertising producer for 8 years. Life had become boring. Every day was just another commercial. Then one day a memo came down from upstairs. They wanted a producer for a wildlife program. That's for me, I thought. I rushed in to see the boss.
Come in.
Got a minute, Jake?
I suppose so. What is it now?
Could I
talk The decor never changed in that place, by the way.
Yeah, no. Look me out. Do you know someone?
Yes, Chief. Me.
You?
Yes.
You know nothing about that. We need someone who knows everything. Everything about Australian wildlife.
Remember my friend Beat?
Beat.
Look, don't worry about it, Chief. I'm going to make you a program that'll get magic ratings.
Yes, I bet. Well, I suppose I've got nothing to lose. On the other hand, Art, you have.
Look, Chief, you won't regret this. Believe me, you will not regret it. It'll be a great program.
I hope so. You've got 6 months, Art.
Chief, how can I thank you?
Make that 3 months.
Right, Chief.
And the boss has asked me to write and produce a wildlife program. Wildlife? He doesn't know anything about wildlife. What's he going to write about? Yeah.
I've got a clue what I'm going to write
It's pretty close, actually.
With a bit of research.
But I mean, with that, again, it was a great little show.
Yeah.
I know, like it was almost like, I mean, even Ian Hill, Beat, he become a legend. I mean,
he's an incredible guy. We did a lot of work with Beat.
He's got a great mural up at Curry as well on the side of a wall.
Yeah.
It's just...
He was an incredible human too. Like, honestly, you know, I think I feel really, really fortunate to have grown up with those kind of guys as mentors creatively because, you know, you're in Newcastle. You're going to, when we're doing a commercial in Newcastle, we're just going to find a way to make it work. Okay, it's raining. We've got to shoot today. How are we going to shoot it? Like, it was the workaround. It was the skill about dealing with the serendipitous nature of life and going ahead and doing it. You know, we didn't have the ability to do it another day. It was today. So that, I think, was that creative spirit is what I always try to embody in what I did. And, you know, having Art as a mentor and a friend in life was just astounding. You know, he was like a second father to me.
Just at NBN, back when I was in Mosbri, when I was there, it was about 2014, 2015, and I used to walk around the building. I actually got sad because you'd see pictures, black and white pictures on the wall of Art and different people, you know, Darryl Eastlake, and you sort of go, wow, this was such a hive of activity once, telethons, you know, making shows, morning shows. It was like, and by the time I get there, it was pretty much the newsroom and the odd commercial that 180 would make, or and it was this massive building. It was, and it's like if the walls could talk.
I know the scene you're talking about. I remember walking in to the reception area of NBN, and you just sit in those chairs and you just look up and you just be like, everything was like, you know, gold railings and shag pole carpet and the smell of the place and the big frames, and it was just like, this is broadcasting, you know, and it was it was that.
But
in-awe experience.
But I actually thought about that today, and again, I'm an apprentice carpet layer, 1989, and I'm doing the carpet in the foyer of NBN. No ambition of being a journalist or anything. You know, I'm just like, oh God, I've got to work on a Saturday. You know, there was nothing. And then fast forward, and I was part of it. And so I always just go, see that carpet down there? Oh, no, Caney, you fucking laid it. You know, look, Papa Ryan, he found out he had cancer, lung cancer, and it spread to his brain. He then decides to go to Kenya for one last time. He loved the Maasai people?
Yeah, the Maasai. He just loved Africa, but in particular Kenya and Ethiopia. So Art got diagnosed. It'd be about 4 years ago now, and they gave him 3 to 6 months to live, and so he didn't think he could travel anymore. So he thought, that was it. My time's up. I'm just going to fade away and you know, make the most of it. So we had a living wake for Art. We put on a big show for him.
Was this?
This is the one, yeah.
Where was that at?
That was in Watt Street, and there used to be a function space.
I was
in
looking
Watt
at
Street.
it going, I've never seen that inside of it.
Yeah, and so I printed off all these face masks. So it's a bit hard to see there, but everybody in the room had the same face mask of Art with a big joint hanging out of his mouth. He did like
whose idea was that? His?
No, he didn't know we were doing it. Yeah, we just did it as a bit of a surprise for him. So he knew there was a wake on. He was on board with that. I just said, look, do you want to have one more hurrah? And we just get your friends, your family, people you've worked with, whoever, come in and let's just not make it awkward, but make it happy. Yeah. You know, and it was a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. You know, he loved it, and then he kicked on for another almost 3.5 years. Yeah. So he travelled. He went back to travelling and went back to Kenya, and you know, he and Krista both ended up being incredible wildlife photographers with those DSLRs and big lenses. You know, that's them, and they just struck up incredible friendships with the the people over there. And just really created a solid rapport. They loved the place.
He once said, you come out of the dark, you shine as bright as you can, and then you go back into the dark.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, he punched the lights out, didn't he?
He did.
He left no stone unturned.
Yeah. He had a beautiful turn of phrase, but he also had a really, I guess, refreshing, informative way of looking at, his mortality.
Yeah.
And so in those final few years, I feel really fortunate. We spent a lot of time together. I was in Newcastle a lot with him, and recorded. No surprise, recorded lots of interviews and things with him.
Before we go into that, but you've got this penchant for doing this, haven't you? In regards to people in later life, doing these little like tributes to their life.
Well, I think it's an important time when you think, there is no time left, so we've got to lean in now and get this. So, I've got lots of footage of art through all my time, but this became particularly special because I thought, you know what, you've got more to say, and we've got to capture it.
Yeah, we won't have a.
Last time we get to do this, okay? Ready?
Ready. Take one.
Ready when you are, sir?
Look, I've been performing all my life. This is my last opportunity. And thank you very much for being my friends. It's not until you get to this point in your life that you realise how important that is. This is your journey, and I've had a good one, 83 of them. And I thought I'd be dead by 30 the way I was living, as many people will attest, I'm sure. But I got through, and it's very special. I'd just like to say goodbye with a song that I call my musical autobiography.
As he's rolling a little joint.
It's called 80, Still Smoking. I spent early in my life worrying about the day I die. Then I got on with living and a-doing, and the years roll by. Oh me, oh my, man's gotta try to live, not die. Oh me, oh my. Spent a lot of years playing other people's rock and roll. Been out of work but never ever took the dough. Oh me, oh my, how mean time flies. I don't know why. Oh me, oh my. For there's been fun time, and there's been glum time, adventure-filled times, and all alone time. Yet through it all, I've learned to live with light, not gloom, and make this journey that we call life. Found falling in love wasn't such an easy game, and doing what I do for me beat passing fame. Oh me, oh my, if I should die, I wouldn't cry. Oh me, oh my. Yes, I've had good times, more than I've had bad times. There were love and hate times, guilt and sad times. But through it all, I grew to be who I am today, and made the journey that we call life. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Oh me, oh my. And there you fucking go.
Use Adam, or do you wanted that? That's always a line he loved.
Gold art, gold.
That was beautiful.
But there you go. I mean, so I think we recorded that in end September.
Yeah.
and he'd only just found out that it had gone to his brain, and literally 4 or 5 weeks later, couldn't talk anymore. It was so fast. So we're glad again.
You got it on there.
It was just it was meant to be. We got it when the time was right.
Yeah, and you also we spoke about your trip to Africa, but there was a trip to also lay him to rest. I think there was a picture. Yeah, there.
Yeah, that's it. He wanted his ashes scattered, half his ashes scattered.
Bloody long way to visit him now.
I tell you what, but what a spot! You know, like it's a place called Black Rock in the Masai Mara, and he's got the most incredible view for the rest of days.
Well, I think there's a video. We haven't got that, but I think with that. You sort of zoomed in to the far, and there was I could not believe
ostriches in the background here, and then there was elephants over here. It's like, yeah, I can see why you wanted to be there. It's incredible. I was also going to say, my youngest boy is turning 12 this year. He's named after Art. Yeah, so he that goes to show you how much of an important figure he was in my life.
You going to visit him again?
Oh, absolutely. I'd like to take my youngest Art to go and see him over there too at some stage.
I think he'd be all around us anyway.
Yeah.
You got another great mate, Shane Emmett. Mate, talented bloody bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's everywhere at the moment too. He's doing so many commercials and films and the like. Yeah, he's really hit his straps.
In regards to being an actor, do you think actors become better producers?
Well, they are fantastic producers because they get it.
Yeah,
they get what it's like to be produced well and what it's like to be produced badly. Yeah. So they do it really well.
I mean, you look at Taylor Sheridan. It's just so many that they can. The incredible thing, even regarding to writing scripts at a fast pace, especially. I mean, Taylor Sheridan with Yellowstone. Apparently, he was shooting a movie in France with Angelina Jolie, but they were filming Yellowstone at the same time, and he was writing on the run. So he'd film Monday to Friday, and on the weekend he'd have to write the script for the whole week of Yellowstone. And he wasn't there; he was the other side of the world, and he's writing scripts day and night.
Just be able to switch that headset. Isn't good.
12 weeks straight. He had to do that.
Phenomenal.
I just don't.
Shane is a triple threat. He's obviously he's a fantastic actor. He's a great writer. He can, and he's a astounding producer too. Like he's an all-round dynamo. Amazing guy.
And a lot of people don't realise, his sister was Belinda Emmett, who sadly passed away from cancer. And married Rove McManus. Did he?
Yes.
Was they married?
Yeah.
But, she was a talent as well.
What
she could have done. You look at that.
Yeah.
More hobbies. You're working with pebbles.
I did.
Like incense,
I got to try everything. Yeah, look, this is a little. I went into this and then
that would fool me.
Yeah, they were pretty good. They were little. I just would pick up round pebbles and I'd go like, I wonder if I can make that look like a loaf of bread. So again, it's part of my. This is part of my self therapy when I was getting bad migraines and I couldn't sit in front of a screen or do editing or camera work. So I just go and pick up a paintbrush and just sit for a few hours and paint rocks. And again, people thought I was losing my my marbles.
You had rocks in your
But
head.
it was good fun. Like, I made these, we sold them at markets, and I still like making them. It just, the kids get into it. It's just good fun.
Right. Well, that sourdough one, that'd be perfect for skimming off the lake.
They're the hardest ones to paint because you've got to get those little bubbles in the dough right.
Right.
Yeah.
I think David liked the
finger buns.
Finger buns.
I used to have them as a kid. They're so good.
I'm not judging. Do you know what the desiccated coconut on the finger bun rock is? It's a cut up toothbrush. Yeah, recycling. See?
Man, I saw like something. It might have been a video where you were painting with the sourdough. You were painting it, but then you put it out to the viewers whether you should drill holes.
In the holes
to make it look more authentic.
Yeah, and thankfully they said no because that would have taken me so much time. So I've gone through so many little drill bits, but anyway.
Also, so your family ended up on some digital episodes of Bluey talking about food.
Oh, you've done so much research.
How do you do that?
Look,
that's the most watched cartoon
it's
in the world.
My kids, well, our family loves Bluey, but we on their socials one point they put up, what was it, a year and a bit ago, a casting call for Aussie families because they were going to do some stories, like real life stories with Aussie kids. So I asked Artie and Evie, do you want to have a go? And they said, yeah, okay. So they're used to talking in front of the camera. So, they survived being in a feature film so they could do this. So I just had to read off the questions. They put in their little reel and they got it. So we had a crew come out for a full day and film 2 episodes, turn the house upside down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Bit of fun.
While this was happening, you were going, I could do this on the iPhone, mate.
No, I was very good. I was very well behaved. Megan will love that shot there. But, just a great experience for the kids to go through, being part of one of the biggest stream shows in the world.
These kids of yours, so they got some ambitions in life to be in front of a camera? Because they've been in front of one for quite a bit. Have you ever thought of that?
I don't know. Look, we've sort of asked them a couple of times. We're not pushing them. It's not like we're not going to be those parents that are like, okay, now you need to do drama classes. Now you need to do this. If they've got an interest in it, that's on them. They can. Yeah. We can support them, but they don't have to. We're not expecting them to do that. We're not going to be those parents.
Interesting footnote with Bluey. When I was at Channel 10 News, we were regularly beaten by Bluey in the ratings constantly.
Yeah.
I just say, because everyone was so serious. I go, we're getting beaten by Bluey, and they'd be like, shut up. I'm like, what? It's fucking true. Look at the here it is.
Yeah. Well, the bucket's run out now. They're right. He's not writing anymore. That's it.
That's right.
It's come to an end.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
There's a movie coming out, I think, in a year or so. But
well, it's a massive cash cow, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of my favourites we're going to finish off with some images that you haven't seen before, or you have seen before, but I want you to tell us what's that.
This
isn't one of those.
You've gone through the depths of my social media.
This isn't one of those parties where you leave the keys in the
jar. No, sadly not. No, this is my daughter and I doing mutual face painting one afternoon as an exercise, and I think she was probably forecasting the fact that I was going to end up in Kenya one day by the looks of it. So that was her first face painting on me of a tiger, it would seem.
Like a tiger.
Like a tiger, yeah. Oh, gosh, what's that? I don't even know what that is. That looks like...
Look like that fly that you took a picture of.
I reckon I was probably doing some spray painting or something, and that was the goggles I had available.
Well, spray painting your rocks.
No, I think I was like doing outdoor painting, and I was like, I needed a mask, and there you go.
I love this
Artie.
pic.
Yeah, that's him down at our local cafe, sitting on the armrest of the lounge, just finding a little zen moment.
He reminds me of the kid in Show Me the Money. What was it?
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah.
Doesn't he?
A young one, yeah.
And he's got a personality like him too.
He has, yeah. He's a little crack up. He's a cool kid. There's Megan. There you go.
Love of your life.
Nice little happy shot. That's probably taken just post my mum and COVID stuff. I've still got super long hair. She's an incredible woman. Like that's when you find the right one, you know the right one, and that's like she's my soulmate. I know it in head and heart.
Sometimes it takes a bit.
Oh yeah, it did, but she's incredible.
But even just what you mentioned before, where you were in a position where your mum, she's like coming to just bring her into our house.
Yeah.
That can put a lot of pressure on a family unit. Just that.
Who says that? As like who agrees to have your mother-in-law come and live with you? Like Megan, I'd totally do it for your mum as well. So it's just for the record.
We've got it on camera.
Completely do that, yeah. But no, it's a huge leap of faith. And, I think in any relationship, when you can wake up every day and you can still learn from each other and discover new things about each other, that's gold.
Jason Van Genderen, thanks for joining us on Incredible Lives with Kani.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's been a pleasure. My glasses are fogging up, I think.